before I get to the main feature of this evening, I'd like to say one thing, because so many people ask me questions, which is called next year. Next year we will find out sometime in September, we hope, who is coming and what they're going to do and when, and you will all get letters from us prior to your getting the brochures, so that you can figure out what you want to do and send them in quickly. I just thought I'd mention that now because everybody asks me all through the week, when am I going to know? When am I going to know? Well, I hope September. Okay, now, what can I say? It's Robert Page time.
Talk, she said 15 minutes, and then that's it, and I'm off the hook. Okay, I have to start with the very beginning of this thing here. I got a call 5 years ago, November of the year before the summer activity began. Pick up the phone in my basement in Pittsburgh, and this voice says, "Hello, this is Charlie Walker." I said, "Hello, Charlie." I didn't know who in the hell Charlie Walker was. The only Charles Walker that I knew was a tenor from Delaware who dated my daughter. And I had kicked him out of a choir. It didn't sound like that same Charlie Walker, so I went along with him. And he said, "We wondered whether or not you would like to conduct the Berkshire Choral Institute." I said, "Oh." He never said that there had never been Berkshire Choral Institute. He merely said that they're going to have it for 3 weeks, and they'd like me to conduct 1 week. Westenberg was going to conduct 1 week, and Charlie himself was going to conduct 1 week. And I thought, well, that's wonderful. What do I conduct? He said, "What would you like to conduct?" I said, "The Verdi Requiem." He said, "Fine." Well, I talked to my wife later, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, because I didn't want to confess on the phone that I'd never heard of the Berkshire Choral Institute, just in case it had been in existence. And so I thought, well, okay, I can draw my breath and draw my salary and go up there and have a week in the Berkshires, you know, and if it gets boring, I can go over to Tanglewood. Later on, I realized that I'd forgotten to ask a few important questions like, who's the chorus? Who's the orchestra? Then when it dawned on me, he says, "Oh, these are people who come from all over the country, and they just send in an application." I thought, oh my God. So I came up here not knowing what I was getting myself into. But I want you to know that that first year, that first concert where we all learned about this whole situation was a week that I will never forget. There were 90 people, and they did a performance of the Verdi Requiem, which was not good. It bordered on being absolutely great. You know, wonderful quartet of solos. And you remember that? Yeah. You remember do-si-doing in the room? We do-si-do to the Sanctus. How many of you do-si-do to the Sanctus? But it's that sort of thing. Well, it was an incredible experience, which underwrote the fact that this thing called a choral idiom is probably one of the greatest subcultures in the United States. It's not talked about, and choral people are weird people. I mean it in a very, very positive way, because choral people are doers, they're not lookers on. Now, the people, you know, in your communities, when you try to build an audience for your chorus and what have you, don't go to the church choir, don't go to the community choir. The chorus people will never go to a concert. They are in the concert. They are the doers, they're not the lookers on. And these weeks really prove that you are the ones who want to do. You don't want to just sit back and let somebody do it for you. And that's the whole name of our game. Otherwise, you really wouldn't subject yourself to what you're going to have this week. unless you are ready to face this. The second year then when I came back, I think we had, out of that 90, we had, I guess, 3/4 of them as repeaters for the next year for the Brahms Requiems, which we did, which was, again, an absolutely dynamite experience. Now, coming back this year, I am thrilled to death to see the change. What you really should be aware of, though, is that this is a dream of John Stuckey, and he is a very self-effacing gentleman, and he doesn't like to have that much credit given to him. But this is his dream, because he is the original choral holic, which I call all of you. Now, I mean, you have to come for your annual fix, or where in the city that you live, you go for your weekly fix, or what have you. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful, because then you begin really to explore parts of yourself. There's nothing like a chorus rehearsal where you dare to bear about yourself and about the way you feel about situations, the way you feel about topics that perhaps you never talk about in another situation, because we not only deal with a sound that we make, but we are carriers of words, which are very important when they're spoken, but they're doubly important when they're sung, because we have the twofold prong of getting inside somebody with a message of enticing them, or mesmerizing them, or bewitching them with a sound, or maybe terrorizing them with a sound. But we also have the actual word. And you'll hear me, I'm a very word-oriented person, and you'll hear me talk a heck of a lot this week about the texts. Even though we're singing things like Carmina Burana, which is a lot of Latin texts, which, so far as the use of the text as a message is concerned, is not the important thing, or makes it very plain that that's not his reason for writing. But we will study those texts as well. But the Hoderline text of the Shiksasli is a different thing altogether. The other point that I wanted to make about the Institute and my association with it is, I did, when Margaret said, "Bob, how was it up there?" I said, "Do it." And I really did, because number one, it's an adult schedule. The way the schedule is set up, from the breakfast, from the food on, this is not teenage monster food. This is not a cocktail hour, a sane cocktail hour, which any person over 25 knows is necessary in life.